All right, strap in, everyone. We're going to deep on AI today. And wow, you guys send in some seriously interesting stuff. We're talking a Trump-backed AI project, billions of dollars, a global AI race, and even this whole debate about innovation versus regulation.
It's a bit like we're at the starting line of some high-stakes race to control the future of AI, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, totally. And, one of the first things that jumped out from all these articles was this Stargate project. I mean, come on, the name itself sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, right?
Yeah, it's certainly ambitious. Your sources mentioned Trump is behind this, and we're talking potentially hundreds of billions from investors like SoftBank and Oracle.
Huge names, and the whole thing is about building these massive data centers in Texas. The articles suggest these centers are like the key to unlocking the next level of AI. But I got to ask, why are data centers so important for AI?
Well, think of it this way. The kind of AI we're seeing now, it's incredibly data hungry. It needs tons of information to learn, right? And these data centers are, they're kind of like the fuel for that whole process. They give you the massive processing power to handle these huge data sets and train these really complex AI models everyone's talking about.
So it's a case of bigger is better when it comes to data centers for AI.
In a way, yeah. But, the Stargate project, it involves Oracle. And Oracle, they're not exactly known for AI, are they?
Oh, they're more of a software company.
Exactly. So their big role here, I think it shows how the whole tech landscape is changing. Oracle's jumping headfirst into the AI hardware world. It's
not just the usual tech giants anymore, huh?
Nope. And, this project, it also builds on some of America's existing advantages. They've invested in infrastructure, they have access to it. But it does make you wonder, is Stargate truly a revolution or just a repackaging of existing trends with a massive price tag attached?
It's a good question. It's easy to get caught up in the hype. And speaking of different approaches, your articles also highlight the very different paths the U.S. and the EU are taking when it comes to regulating AI.
Yeah, this is where the geopolitics gets really interesting. The U.S., it seems to be all about moving fast in AI development. Like Trump just revoked Biden's executive order to regulate the industry.
Yeah, he was pretty clear about seeing regulation as a barrier to innovation.
Yeah,
right. Like it could let competitors like China get ahead. But I guess some people worry that this unregulated approach could have consequences down the line. Could the U.S. end up playing catch up if those risks become a problem?
It's possible. And then you have the EU taking a much more cautious approach with their AI Act. They're really focused on mitigating the risks that come with AI.
Yeah, the articles mention that it's all about ensuring ethical AI development, safeguarding rights and all that. It's supposed to be fully implemented by 2026, but we're already seeing the impact. Like, remember that whole thing with Zuckerberg pulling his AI assistant from the EU market?
Oh, yeah. That was a perfect example of how these different philosophies are playing out in the real world. The EU, they're particularly worried about potential societal problems, ethical issues. They want to avoid scenarios where AI systems create bias, where they lead to discrimination and unfair outcomes.
So you've got the U.S. going for speed, going for innovation, and the EU, they're all about caution and control. Yeah. It makes you wonder, can Europe, with its focus on all this regulation, can it really compete with the U.S. in this global AI race?
That is the billion-dollar question, isn't it? And it's not a question with an easy answer. But one thing's for sure, it's not just a two-player game anymore.
Yeah, you're right. The articles also mention China, and their growing influence in AI, which seems to be pushing the U.S. to move faster. What's interesting is that China's approach, it's like a mix of both, the U.S. and the EU, rapid innovation, but with strong government control.
Exactly. China's been very open about wanting to lead in AI, and their investments definitely show that. But there's another player emerging, one that you might not expect.
Who are we talking about?
We're seeing a lot of investment in AI coming from the Gulf countries. It wasn't really on anyone's radar a few years ago, but it's becoming a major factor.
That's interesting. Why are Gulf countries getting involved in AI? Is it just about the money, or is there something more to it?
It's more than just chasing profits. I think these countries, they know they need to diversify. They've relied on oil and gas for so long, but they see AI as a way to create a future that goes beyond fossil fuels. So they're putting money into research, into education, even infrastructure, trying to become these major AI hubs.
So it's not just passive investment. It's like they're really trying to position themselves as leaders in this new AI-powered world, huh? It makes you think, will all this investment, especially from unexpected places like the Gulf states, will it reshape the global AI landscape? Could we see new centers of AI power popping up?
It's definitely possible. And this brings us to another important point. The connection between AI and national security, even military power. It's not just about the economy anymore.
Yeah, it reminds me of that soundbite you included from that French military presentation back in 2004. You talked about using AI in weapon systems, right?
Yeah, and they specifically mentioned the Caesar cannon. It's a French artillery piece that uses AI for targeting, and can even operate autonomously. It's a pretty clear example of how AI is changing warfare.
And your sources say that the U.S. military is thinking about getting some of these cannons. That brings up some tricky questions about technological sovereignty, doesn't it?
Absolutely. The idea of technological sovereignty, it's getting more and more complex in the age of AI. Can any nation really say they're self-sufficient when it comes to this stuff?
Yeah, it seems like true independence in AI it's pretty hard to achieve. The articles talk about how interconnected these global supply chains are and how important collaboration is for AI research.
Right. And look at Mistral, that French AI startup that's getting all this investment from the U.S. The founder, he wants to keep control of the core technology in France, but he also knows he needs American expertise, American funding.
So it's a balancing act, protecting national interests while also dealing with the realities of this globalized AI world. It seems like sticking to this strict idea of sovereignty, it might actually slow a country down.
Yeah, maybe it's more about strategically managing these dependencies rather than trying to be completely self-reliant. And this is where the war in Ukraine comes in.
What role is the Ukrainian conflict playing in all of this, in the future of AI, I mean?
Yeah. Well, the war is basically a live test for AI military tech. It's making countries rethink their alliances, their dependencies. The conflict could lead to faster development of AI for defense, but it could also show, the dangers of relying too much on AI and what can happen when things go wrong.
It's a stark reminder that AI is not just some abstract thing, right? It has real world consequences, especially when it comes to things like war. But beyond the whole geopolitical thing, AI is also affecting our daily lives in ways we might not even notice.
So absolutely. We tend to focus on these futuristic AI scenarios, but the truth is it's already woven into our everyday experiences.
It's true. Like think about how often you interact with AI without even realizing it. Personalized recommendations on streaming services, spam filters in your email. It's all AI working in the background, shaping how we interact online.
And it's not just digital anymore. AI is being used to diagnose diseases, to personalize education, even to manage traffic in cities. It's getting used in so many different ways. It's becoming more and more a part of our lives.
But with all these advances, there's also a sense of, unease. There's so much we don't understand about AI's long-term effects. It's both exciting and a little bit scary. What worries you most about the future of AI?
I think one of the biggest challenges is making sure AI development doesn't make existing inequalities worse. If these systems are trained on biased data, they can perpetuate that bias, even make it worse, leading to unfair or discriminatory outcomes. We have to be really careful about the data we use to train these systems and the potential consequences of their decisions.
That's a really important point, and it shows how important it is to have diverse voices involved in developing AI. We need to go beyond Silicon Valley and make sure that people from all walks of life, different backgrounds, different perspectives, they all have a say in how this technology is shaped.
I totally agree. The more perspectives we have, the better we'll be able to handle the ethical and societal challenges that come with AI.
And it all comes back to that idea of technological sovereignty we talked about earlier. Yeah. AI, it naturally goes beyond national borders. It's global from the start.
Exactly. Data can move freely across borders. Talent is everywhere. And collaboration it's crucial for progress. So it raises this really fundamental question: how do we govern a technology that doesn't fit into our traditional ideas of control and jurisdiction?
It's like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole, right?
Yeah.
The way we govern now, it wasn't designed for this kind of interconnected, rapidly evolving technology.
Exactly. We need new ways of cooperating and collaborating internationally to make sure that AI is developed and used responsibly on a global scale.
It sounds like we're building the plane while we're flying it, huh? Do you think we can create effective global governance for AI before it's too late?
It's a tough challenge, but I think it's possible. The key is to start with a shared understanding of the values, the principles that should guide AI development.
Like things like transparency, accountability, fairness.
Exactly. If we can agree on those fundamental values, then we can start building the institutions and the mechanisms we need to make sure those values are upheld globally.
It's a big task, but the stakes are so high. If we get this wrong, the consequences could be pretty bad.
There's no doubt about that. But I'm optimistic. We're seeing more and more awareness of these issues, and more people are getting involved in these conversations.
That's good. It feels like there's a growing understanding that we need to talk about this publicly. Have a dialogue that includes everyone, not just the tech experts and the policymakers.
Absolutely. We need to demystify AI. We need to break down these complicated ideas and give people the tools to participate in this debate.
It's about making AI accessible to everyone, not just the tech elite, because in the end, this technology is going to affect all of us. We all have a stake in its future.
Yeah.
And speaking of the future, there's one part of AI we haven't really touched on yet, the philosophical side of things.
Yes. AI isn't just a technological revolution. It's a philosophical one too.
When we start talking about, machines that can learn, machines that can reason, even create, it brings up some really big questions about what it means to be human.
You're right. AI is forcing us to rethink our ideas about intelligence, about consciousness, about creativity, qualities that we used to think were uniquely human. We're seeing them in machines now, and it's blurring the lines between human and artificial abilities.
It's almost like AI is holding a mirror up to us.
Yeah.
Making us question what we really mean by intelligence, consciousness, creativity.
Yeah, for centuries we've thought of ourselves as the only ones with those qualities, what set us apart from everything else. But as AI gets more advanced, those lines between us and machines, they're getting blurry, and those old assumptions, they're being challenged.
Like creativity, right? We always thought of it as human, intuition, imagination, this spark of something new. But now we're seeing AI create art, write music, even poetry. Some people say it's as good as anything a human can do. It's amazing, but also kind of unsettling to see machines doing something we thought was uniquely ours.
It is. Makes you wonder, if machines can show these qualities we thought were only human, what does that mean for us? For our own intelligence? Are we more like machines than we thought, or are machines becoming more like us?
And where does consciousness fit in? Can it actually be conscious? Have experiences, feelings, a sense of self?
That's the $1 million question, isn't it? Yeah, it's got philosophers and scientists stumped. There's no easy answer. Some say consciousness comes from complex systems. So as AI evolves, it could develop some kind of consciousness. Others say it's tied to our biology, our bodies, and that machines, no matter how smart, can't experience the world like we do.
It's mind-blowing to think of a machine having thoughts, feelings, a sense of itself. It changes how we think about what it means to be human, to be alive.
Yeah, it does. And it pushes us to think maybe our understanding of consciousness is too narrow. Maybe there are other types of consciousness, in different creatures, in machines that we just don't get yet.
It's like AI is making us think bigger, not just about technology, but about philosophy too. It's making us rethink our place in the universe and consider the possibility of other intelligences out there.
And that might be one of the biggest impacts of this whole AI revolution. It's not just about the tools we make, but how those tools change how we see ourselves, how we see our place in the world.
It's like AI is pushing us to evolve our thinking, to move past this human-centered view and see intelligence and consciousness in a bigger way.
That's a great way to put it. If we approach AI with fear, see it as a competitor, we're probably going to miss out on what it can really do. But if we approach it with curiosity, with a willingness to learn, AI could help us reach a whole new level of understanding of creativity.
It's about seeing AI not as a threat, but as a chance to grow for us as individuals and for humanity as a whole.
Exactly. And that's what's so exciting about this whole journey. We're not just building machines, we're shaping the future. And we have the power to make that future, a good one, a future that's inclusive and truly intelligent.
We've talked about a lot today, from Trump's multi-billion-dollar AI project
Yeah.
to the global race for AI, to the ethical questions it all brings up. But for me, it's these philosophical questions about consciousness and what it means to be human in this age of intelligent machines. That's what I find really fascinating. Those are the ideas I'm going to keep thinking about.
It's been great exploring all this with you.
And to all of you listening, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into AI. We hope you found it as thought-provoking as we did. Remember, the future of AI, it's not set in stone. It's a future we're all creating together.